So after having seen the Russian bomb test, there is a set of pictures which was taken from the first atomic bomb test at all, which was carried out in July 1945 in the deserts of New Mexico. This was called the Trinity test, and the pictures here shows the size of the fireball from typically 0.01 milliseconds all the way up to about 1.9 seconds, 9 milliseconds after the explosion. And you could see that the fireball rapidly grows. At first, it is spherical, but then this, the bomb which was set off at a height above the ground has its fireball touching the ground, and its progress on the ground is actually restricted, and so it changes from a completely spherical cloud to somewhat of a distorted one. These pictures were published in a paper which was published in Proceedings of the Royal Society by Geoffrey Taylor. And the next slide will show you how the blast wave was completely spherical until it reached the ground level, and then the lateral movement of the blast wave was somewhat slower. G.I. Taylor had full-scale computer calculation, which is shown in the next slide, and he was able to compute the radius as a function of time, which was also could be interpreted from completely dimensional analysis. And he showed that the radius varied with time as a typical 2/5 of power of the time, with a certain scaling which is given in terms of centimeter to the power 5th per second square. And this was the so-called Sedov-Taylor expansion phase of the fireball. By a certain time, the supernova's blast wave, the bomb's blast wave, the debris blast wave had actually picked up enough matter from the surrounding atmosphere, and when it did that, it went into a so-called self-similar expansion, which is described by this power law relation, which was actually analytically derived and verified by computer calculations. And the bomb test's fireball size just kept to this relation quite accurately. And in fact, by looking at how the fireball expands, one can actually interpret how powerful the explosion was. And so there is a method of calculating these bomb tests yields. Next slide.